It seems like Charlie Kirk had much more of a following than we realized. This is Tony. Hope you're all doing well. We actually have a lot of stuff to get into in this video. NBA players talking to Charlie Kirk, telling him some rather surprising things. We'll get into that. We have, of course, Chris Pratt with a message he put out. We'll play that in a second here. We have also the leader. We're talking the director here, Kash, and some of the stuff they're saying now you're not going to believe as the explanation of what really happened. We'll get into that. Also, we got so much more to get into. We have an update on what happened in the UK. Apparently, the GOV of the UK responded. We'll get into that as well. Let's just start here. Actually, we'll start with that first. We'll start with the UK story. I covered it on my last video. All right, so you have Starmer here over in the UK, apparently sending police to threaten this lady's daughter, and said that she had to hand over her phone or they'll put her into custody. Now, I played this yesterday, and it was just surprising because it said that all she did was look at a social media post, and they're going to take her in if she didn't hand her phone over, not for posting, for looking at one, for watching or looking at a post. And of course, the UK GOV heard about this video, which literally that's what they said. The police said that. And we have here a barrister in the UK, or a lawyer, pro bono for that exact family, responding to the letter that the GOV put out, saying that this is not true. The police were not arresting her for looking at a social media post. And they start saying that the real reason that they're going to arrest her is because she made up a fake account and was posting mean things. This is what they said. But this barrister here is saying, actually, no, they're just conflating two stories, and could this be a lie? Check this out.
Now, I am familiar with what they say has been done, which I cannot tell you for obvious reasons, but I am also familiar with at least two other suspects, each of whom have said that it is not this girl whose phone was confiscated that was responsible for that fake social media account. So that, I felt, needs correcting. But there is also a separate but parallel...
So they're literally conflating two things just so they can somehow... Long story short, what I think they're doing is they're lying. We're talking about the GOV there in the UK, and that they literally were going to arrest someone for looking at a post. Now, why is this important? Why does this have to do with Charlie Kirk or any of that stuff? It does because, remember, if you look at it this way, this is the way I want you to look at it. Imagine there's some people at the top in some back rooms, faceless, you don't know who they are, planning and trying to get things done. How can we take away, of course, their speech? Oh, let's try this. We'll try the Online Safety Act first. So we'll do kosher in America, Online Safety Act over in the UK. We'll do PayPal, Visa, MasterCard, limiting purchases over in America and the Steam. And of course, this is their plan A. Their plan A succeeded in the UK, didn't succeed in America, right? So then here is the result of their success. You looked at a post. You're going to get arrested for it. In America, what do they? Oh, plan B. What is plan B? Oh, let's take out, of course, Charlie Kirk. I'm just saying this is a theory. I'm not saying this is true. I'm just saying this is what I'm telling you a story. Let's just take him out. And then afterwards, what we'll do is we'll try to block certain types, of course, speech. And we'll use Pam Bondi to do it. And, of course, Charlie Kirk said there is no such thing as hate speech. But Pam here is saying there is, and we need to stop it. Again, the same thing. Again, it's the exact same thing they tried to do a month ago with Kosha. Now they're trying to do it this way with what happened to Charlie Kirk. This is what I think is happening. Now, I think there's certain elements affecting our GOV here. Our GOV is doing some good stuff. Don't get me wrong. But there's also some stuff that they seemingly do on the side that is not good. And this is a perfect example. This is why a lot of people want her gone. They don't like her. A lot of people are calling for her resignation. Even our president is caught on wind to that and is saying she better start doing her job or she's gone in one tweet. So you can see kind of what's going on here. Now, also interestingly, Erica Kirk, she didn't just start following Candace on Instagram. She's already been following her on Instagram. And of course, this is what's being made known in this reader's note or whatever. What do they call these? Correction note. I forgot what they call these things. She's been following her on Instagram, and she also had Tucker Carlson on her memorial. They both have been saying that the entire story of what happened to her husband isn't making sense and are questioning what is being told to us. She's supposed to be answering soon here questions, Erica is, on what she thinks about all these things people are saying online, either today or tomorrow or sometime this week. In an interview, she's supposed to be responding to that. So, really, like I said, we're going to get into a ton of stuff. I wanted to talk about what Charlie Kirk said here about these NBA players. We're going to get into how Hollywood is freaking out. 400 different Hollywood celebrities have signed and are like getting part in I think it's a lawsuit, or is it just a letter? We'll get into that in a second. I'll show you the article. First, though, and we're also going to get into some new information about Charlie Kirk and his death, and what they're saying really happened. You're not going to believe what Kash is saying. First of all, I got to mention food supply, 25-year shelf life. Link is in the description. 3 months worth, 4 months worth for $6.97. You're going to definitely want to get that if you haven't already. Link is in the description for that. This book here, The Lost Ways, How Your Great-Great-Grandfather Lived Without Electricity, out of a cellar. Do things around the house as they did in the old days. Hundreds of pages illustrated. You're going to definitely need that book before the power goes out. Of course, if you have like 2-3 weeks without power, your neighbors, your friends, your family don't have it either, you're going to definitely want this book. Get the printed version, $37. Also, go check out all my other social media. Just updated my website yesterday. Let's get back to the video. So we have here Charlie Kirk it's been told that multiple NBA players had burner accounts just to watch him. Check this out.
And quite honestly, most of these players are sick of this crap too.
Yeah.
I get messages from these players all the time. I won't say their names on here because they'll be canceled. All throughout the NFL, all throughout the NBA, they're messaging me. I was just in Vegas. The NBA Summer League was going on. I had probably 10 NBA players come up to me, and of all different, backgrounds, colors, and what do you mean? They're like, Charlie, we love your stuff. If anyone found out we followed your stuff, we'd be canceled. I have a special Instagram account where I just follow you because they found out that I was following you on my other Instagram account.
Burner
I'd be
accounts
followed.
following
I was like,
Charlie Kirk.
Burner
NBA accounts following me. It's like very so.
That's so funny, man. Yeah, I mean, obviously, a lot of people get canceled over this stuff. And what's so weird about it is now the left is freaking out because their late night show host, Jimmy Kimmel, got canceled. He canceled himself. He canceled himself. And you have some of these actors and actresses coming out thinking it's the end of the world. You have Kevin Bacon's wife here saying she thinks she's going to lose her rights, her right to vote, everything.
How you doing? I felt like it was important to get on the blower and talk a little bit about how I'm feeling and wondering how you're feeling about the state of our union. I'm finding myself pretty scared about a lot of things, scared about losing my rights as a woman, scared about losing my right to vote as a woman.
Really? You're really scared, are you? You're obviously not going to lose your rights. I don't know what she's talking about. Of course, you have Rosie O'Donnell as well. Rosie melts down over Kimmel's cancellation. Blank this, America's nowhere is no more. Fuck this, America's no more. I can't even talk. Yeah, of course, so you got that. You got 400 celebrities joining with the ACLU to protest Disney's Kimmel suspension, including Tom Hanks, Meryl Streep, Jamie Lee Curtis, Jason Bateman, Martin Short are among the members of the Hollywood community who have signed this open letter. It's not like our president just called him and told him to cancel him. They canceled him of their own volition. He did it to himself, right? He's the one who said false information about Charlie Kirk. He did it to himself. He has a very low following. I think Disney was just looking for an excuse. They're looking for an excuse to cancel him. They already had him on the chopping block. They're like, we need to get rid of this dude. He's only getting 130,000 people to watch him a night. We're paying him millions of dollars. He's not doing anything. He's not making us any money. We just need an excuse to cancel him. And they had their excuse. And that's the real reason. So your speech is not being limited because you're not making a company money and they don't want to promote you anymore. Okay, there's a big difference between that and what's happening in the UK, where if you look at a post online, you end up in prison. There's a big difference. Okay, huge difference. Of course, there's 100 million people, plus million people, that watched the memorial yesterday. You have here Chris Pratt saying that we need to stand up for our country. Check this out.
If I were 20 years old today and I might have had my head in TikTok and Instagram, I might be disillusioned. Maybe I wouldn't know. Maybe I'd need someone to tap me on the shoulder and tell me that my country needs me. Ignite my patriotism in a whole new way. And I say this gently to those who are immersed in their own worlds, who think their country doesn't need them. And I say this to them with some urgency. It is your torch to carry. Your country needs you.
Amen.
I feel called to be of service in this moment, to help other people better understand what's at stake.
Exactly, dude. Everything's at stake. Everything is at stake at this point. We have yet another, we're talking shooting here, my friends. 2 of them, actually. This one was from yesterday, shouting "Free Palestine" while he's at a wedding, a country club wedding in Sky Meadow. 1 person is now dead from this. So there's one. You had another one the day before, and it had to do with Jimmy Kimmel. Literally Jimmy Kimmel. It's so ridiculous. Let me show you that one. I mean, goodness gracious, what is going on here? You have this one as well. He was arrested and released and shot 3 shots into apparently an ABC News station because they were because Jimmy Kimmel was off the air. Really? Seriously? That's the reason why? Goodness gracious, what in the world? So we're seeing more and more of this. And now CEOs of Reddit and Twitch and other companies, Steam, et cetera, are being called to testify in Congress because of what's going on. All their messages they're putting out saying terrible things about other people, like our president. That's led to some of what we're seeing today, saying bad things about Charlie Kirk. We had the South Park episode. You have now apparently the Democrat Party losing tons of followers, lots of people leaving en masse. Actually, huge percentages, like anywhere from 4 to 8% in some states even. Switching, got California here. And so what's interesting about some what's going on, of course, our president also united apparently with Elon again. And we do have sort of the text of what they were saying. So Elon, I've heard that you wanted to chat. Let's work out how to get back on track. I've missed you. This is apparently what they said to each other. So they're now apparently working together again. But getting over to this bigger story, we were told yesterday or day before yesterday that because everyone was talking yesterday and day before yesterday about how did he die, right? And we were talking about, was this the entry or the exit, right? And now they're still saying that it was the entry point and that there is no exit. Yesterday day before yesterday they were saying it was because he's like the Man of Steel, like it just miraculously didn't go out the other side, it hit a bone or something. And a lot of people were saying this makes no sense. We had people that have quite a bit of experience with 30-06s saying you could literally shoot one through an elk. Elks are about 3 times wider than Charlie Kirk is, period, at the waist. I mean, it's insane. Of course, his neck is obviously a lot less wide, and it can go through one of these things, right? It can go completely through an elk. So, again, then Kash Patel came out and said, no, there's the real story. You know, it's like, so that was the surgeon saying it was like a miracle, Man of Steel, Superman thing. And then we had Alex here explaining out what happened. And let me just play this real quick.
All right, I'm just going to report the facts to you. I just talked to Andrew Colvett, who is the official spokesman for TPUSA, who I've met before, who's a great guy, and a big confidant of Charlie Kirk. And I put my report out about him talking to the surgeon that was there when Charlie was brought dead to the hospital. And Charlie was being shot from on top, I'm just repeating what he told me, into the throat. And he's saying now that no, it didn't go through, which actually makes sense now that I think about it. It was coming down and then went, he asked me not to be too graphic, but it went down his spine, exploded in his heart, fragments went in there, which makes sense, that's what happens, and that the bullet fragments bounced back up, and they found that. So this is ballistics. I hadn't thought of that. I'm not a ballistics expert.
Okay. Look. All right, so does this make any sense? I mean, so for one, you could say theoretically there's a very, very, very small percentage chance that it could maybe do something like this. Maybe. I'm no expert, but I'm just going to guess that theoretically it could do that. It go down the spine. But the problem is, he says it bounces up and then fragments go up, and then there's a fragment in the shoulder. What? What does it bounce off? Is there a piece of metal in there somewhere? I mean, how did it bounce up? It can't bounce off the heart. Like, I don't understand this. It makes no sense. I think it actually sounds worse than what they originally said. A little bit. At first, I thought it sounded better. But then when they said it bounced back up and went into his shoulder, like it went down and then went back up. How? Like, makes literally no sense. There's nothing for it to bounce off unless he has some piece of metal inside him I don't know about. I guess theoretically, if that was the case, I mean, that would be an extremely rare, crazy thing if something like that happened. I personally don't believe it. That's just my opinion on it. I kind of feel like Kash here is like this. This is how he investigates. You know what I mean? Like, bro, you're not doing anything good here. I think you're trying to explain away something. You guys tried to explain away why there's no exit, and instead you're sounding even worse. You're sounding even more ridiculous, right? Because actually, I think in reality, we'll get into this in a second, but in reality, I had a video back here. Where is it at? Goodness gracious. I got it around here somewhere. Here it is. So this guy shows how it looks like it goes in right here and comes out the other side. And that actually seems to make the most sense based on all the evidence I've shown already on this channel. I've shown numerous times they actually caught the bullet midair on camera. It looks like it came from the side. It didn't come from the front, like they're saying. Until they provide any evidence that says the opposite, I'm not going to believe what they're saying, because it just doesn't make any sense what they're saying. But the fact is, we have also another weird thing. This guy, Tyler, the one who was on the roof, look at this. Superman photo. Man of Steel. That's weird. Keep seeing Man of Steel everywhere. It's very strange. Of course, also I pointed out how when you actually look to see who Kash Patel fired, you can't find anything really. I asked ChatGPT, Google AI, who did he remove, fire, lay off? Very, very few people are documented as actually being fired. I couldn't find any credible confirmed number of total people that have been removed. 6 leaders here in January. I think there was like another 18 somewhere else. I thought there was an article that said 5,000, but actually I found out that's not true. He's shifted around 1,500. So far, all I know is he's fired maybe 40 people max out of 38,000. And I was like, didn't he fire 5,000? I thought I saw an article on it. No, he didn't. That has to do with some sort of allegation that was mentioned. That had to do with Jan, of course, 6, and the 5,000 employees that were on the requested list, which of course were never fired. So my question is, these are the same people that were going after Charlie Kirk before, a year or two ago. They're still there. They're still working there. So maybe they're the ones, you see what I'm getting at? Like, he hasn't cleaned anything out. And instead, what is he doing? He's partying. Where is that at? I got it around here somewhere. I got so many windows open. Oh yeah, here we go. This dude, Kash here, less morning intel briefings, more pro sports events, going to sporting events all the time. Apparently he's going to dances and nightclubs, getting the women. This is literally what he's doing. Big accusation from the former director, says Kash has seen more dancing in nightclubs than working on the job. Dude, this guy just got the position and he's just doing nothing and like hanging out with chicks and stuff. What's going on here? Fired nobody, giving us the most lame explanation of what happened to Charlie Kirk. Bro, come on. You got to be kidding me. They need to get rid of this Kash Patel and Pam. They're absolutely doing nothing. It's a joke at this point. What the hell? Anyway, you also have this weird clip here. A billionaire says he's been preparing to be the, Antichrist. A former Rockefeller guy, he had a bunch of surgeries. Let me show you this. This is crazy. Let me play it at the right spot. Let me get it in the right spot here. Yeah, here we go.
Intrigued with my videos and invited me and my wife out to meet with him a couple of times. He told me that he had over 20 different operations throughout his life so that he could prepare his vessel to house the spirit of the Antichrist. What he's told me is that Satan always has a few vessels to be prepared to be...
Of course he does. I've heard this theory before, that what they're saying here, that they would have someone always ready for if it's the time. And so it's kind of a curious statement there. Apparently, I just saw that video go viral. We also had the Vladmeister himself, Putin here, saying that they're actually going after international, Satanists and saying they're real. And he calls them ball of vampires. Like, what in the hell is going on here, man? So you got all these different stories like this coming out, but so you're starting to see the spiritual dark side come out, becoming more evident and obvious. And you can also see God's hand working more. You saw what was going on at that memorial for Charlie Kirk. You can see a lot of resurgence of people going to church now. You have all these prophetic words about Charlie Kirk, about our current president, about Erica Kirk also taking the mantle and leading in a direction to where a lot of people come to Christ. I'm really thinking that we are entering into God's time, but the devil is hanging on by his claws, trying to bring to pass his will. At any rate, so you have here, I've already talked about all these things. A very strange thing will happen in September, moving into the fall, where there shall be a great fall of enemies, fall of kings, fall of princes, fall of all those at, of course, the top. Is this strange thing that happened in September Charlie Kirk's death? That's the question. Also, you should check out my website, GR Videos. I got a lot of awesome. Just click on the link below for all my my social media links, and you'll see this page here. And I got a lot of research articles on things I've covered in the past. I even have the afterlife here. Got an amazing article talking about how they thought about the afterlife in the early church, which is different than the way they think today. It's way different. The term hell is a Nordic term that actually meant Hades. Hades means the afterlife. It doesn't mean hell as you think of hell today. It means the afterlife, period. Upper, lower levels. Upper levels were like paradise. Lower levels are hellish. And how actually there was a lot of opinions that you could get out of the bad part of afterlife and get to the good part. In a lot of these early writings, Shepherd of Hermas, a lot of these ancient early commentators in the church, it was only at the time of St. Augustine that they started trying to change this. Matter of fact, St. Augustine had the minor viewpoint, the common viewpoint today about hell being eternal torment. That was a minority viewpoint in the early church during the time of St. Augustine. Of course, he's the father of theology for the Catholic and Protestant church today, which makes no sense, but that's what it is. You have lots of commentators way before him, some more influential than him, that had completely different viewpoints on this. And I think the devil has purposely hid this, that actually my sort of thought on it is it's kind of like a prison. Like you have some people get out of prison, some are on death row. So I think the ones on death row are obviously going to be the ones that end up in, completely gone forever. And then you got the ones that are on sort of the temporary list, and they eventually get out of hell and into heaven through faith in Christ. And I go through this article and I show all the different ancient viewpoints on this. I show how the early church looked at it, which is way different than they think about it today. Justin Martyr, Irenaeus, Tertullian, Theophilos of Antioch, Clement of Alexandria, Origen. This guy thought everyone gets saved. Eventually, they get out of hell. Hell is like a beneficial place that punishes you and gets you in the right place. I don't agree with him. I think some get out, some don't. But go check out that article. Link is in the description. Kind of wonder what some of you guys think. Let me know in the comment section below. And thanks for watching.